Okie doke. Well, let's get started, guys. My name's Michelle, for those of you who don't know me, and we will be presenting today a lunchbox, short, sharp, virtual class, just to give you a couple of ideas. And I'm actually making two recipes, one that I've made once and one that I do another version for, but I just put it out to the team leaders and said, what's your recommendations? Because this is what this is about, is trying different recipes that you may not have tried or even known before. So these are two fairly new ones to me, because if you do follow me on my Facebook, I post what I cook and you guys probably would know my stock standards. So today I am doing a veggie smuggling chocolate muffin, and it's a zucchini chocolate muffin, and also a no-bake muesli bar. I normally do a different version, that is a cooked version, but I'm going to give this one a go. So what I will do today, everyone that's registered will get an email from me tomorrow. I will post the recipe links I will post the recipe links for you in that email. They are both on Cookie Do, so if you don't have a Cookie Do subscription, you can subscribe for a free 30-day trial. And whatever Thermomix you've got, I highly recommend Cookie Do, because you get so much out of your machine by having that those recipes on hand, really quick. They're tried and tested, and they're fairly easy, and they are definitely user-friendly, and you know that they're going to work. Now, you should see two screens here, myself and then my screen of my Thermomix as well. So I'll get started. So the TM6 has got the weekly planner and Cookie Do live. It's connected to Wi-Fi all the time, so it's a live action. So I could either swipe and search the chocolate zucchini mini loaves, or I've got them in my weekly planner. So we're going to start that now. And these probably won't finish cooking by the time I finish today. So I will post you a photo of the finished product in the email that I'm sending to you. For those of you that's just jumped on, if you wanted just to type in the chat where you're from and what Thermomix you've got. I see Carla's on. She's super excited. She just upgraded to a TM6, so it's in the post. So that's super exciting. So we're going to start cooking. Oh, so just on, if you can see the screen, just on the Cookie Do recipes, you can go down and look into the actual recipe. So it tells you if it's an easy recipe, how long the prep is, how long the total time of the recipe is, and how many servings it actually makes. So this one says it's an easy recipe, prep time's 15 minutes, total time's an hour and a half, and it serves 4 portions. So we'll get started. I can look at all my ingredients beforehand, which I do have prepped on my bench ready to go. I've got everything out. And if you have been on one of my cooking classes, I probably have forgotten something, so just giving you that heads up. As we scroll down, you can see nutritional information. Every recipe on Cookie Do is broken down in nutritional information. So that's your calories per serve. This particular recipe's got protein, carb, fat, and dietary fibre. There could be variation and tips and hints as well here. So we're going to start cooking. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to come off mute. Shout out the questions or type them in the chat. Linda's helping me with the chat, and we will answer your questions that you may have. So we are preheating the oven, which I've done. Getting our tray ready. So I'm actually using today the mini muffin tray. You do not have to grease these. These are silicone. They've got a metal rim on the outside, so really easy to put in and out of the oven. And no baking paper or anything like that necessary. So, first ingredient is 90 grams of sugar. So those of you who don't have a Thermomix, I think most of you on do. You've got your built-in scales, so you can weigh as you go. You're putting in the sugar. You can knock back the sugar if you like. I generally do, so I'll just put in 70-ish. Next, the lid on. We're just going to mill this down. So just speak nice. Then I'm going to add, let's just mill that down like so. Can you see that? So turn it into more of a caster sugar type of consistency. We're going to add in 130 grams of plain flour. And again, we've got those scales. So as you can see, there's no measuring cups or spoons. If you've forgotten that, you just weigh as you go. So cocoa powder, I'm using cacao today. 30 grams of that. Smells divine. So who likes to veggie smuggle and trick your kids into their treats? I'd love to hear your favourite veggie smuggling recipe that you like to do. Okay, so then we have got the teaspoon of bicarb. Oh, there was a spoon in there, it was underneath. And a half a teaspoon of baking powder. So the baking powder and the bicarb, because we're using plain flour, just gives us that rising agent. And a pinch of salt, which I've got in my little bamboo container from the mix shop. Put my salt in there. And some cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. So do we have any recipes up on there in the chat, Linda? People.
Yes, we have. What have we got here? Let me have a look. The skinny mixes mac and cheese is the best. Veggie smuggling hands down.
Awesome.
Passes the fussy eater test.
That's good to hear.
So
another one that I like to do is the sweet potato chocolate brownie. I was tossing up between the chocolate brownie and the zucchini muffins, but I haven't particularly made the zucchini muffins before, so I'm going to give that a go today. So that has just mixed up all those powders. This is basically the flour, the bicarb, the baking powder, sugar and cacao. So they're all in. I'm just taking that out. Now we're going to do some chopping and some mixing of the wet ingredients. So that's what it looks like there. And another good one is the pumpkin loaf. That's a delicious recipe. So I've just chopped my zucchinis up. It's 130 grams of zucchini. I was told if you've got really fussy eaters, if you peel the skin, you won't have any flicks of any vegetables. So that's a little tip if you wanted to do that. So that's almost one thing, not quite. Because I haven't made this in ages, I am sticking to the recipe. So you can do this nut-free and just opt out on the walnuts, but I am just throwing in a handful of walnuts here. One's fallen in my chocolate powder. Now it wants us to chop up the zucchini and the walnuts together. So I'm just going to do that, 2 seconds. Scrape that down. Okay, so it's giving me that consistency. The person that recommended this recipe to me said if you don't peel the zucchini, which I haven't done, just do the chopping twice. So 4 seconds instead of 2 seconds. So I'll just go back and do that again. And to go back, you can just use this arrow on the left-hand side of the screen to go back. Okay, so let's give that a quick scrape down, and now we're going to throw in our grape seed oil. We use grape seed oil in cooking because it is neutral flavour. So if you were to use olive oil, that's quite strong, and the olive oil flavour may come out in the actual recipe. So 100 grams of oil. So that is, instead of using butter, So it's a dairy-free recipe. Next, then we're going to add our 2 eggs, which I have prepared earlier. I'll crack them. Next, and now we're just going to mix that. Put the lid on. The lid always needs to be on. Now we are using the back of the blade and we're mixing that, so we are not chopping that any further. Just for 3 seconds. Now it tells us to add our mixture that we made earlier. You can see how easy this is. I have made a version of the zucchini cake recipe years ago, probably 7 years ago. So I'm not really familiar with this recipe, but just reading that step-by-step guide of cooking, it is easy. And being in a community too, you can ask your mates what recipe they recommend, which is what I did today. And that's what I love about Cookie Do, is there's 80,000 recipes. You're not going to get sick of eating the same thing over and over again. If you're not sure, reach out to your consultant to see if she's got any recommendations. There's lots of forums as well that you can ask different people. Or if you've got a friend that owns a Thermomix or a few friends that own a Thermomix, what you can do is, you know, have a bit of a chat group and inspire each other with what you're cooking as well. Because if you've got the inspiration, you're going to use your Thermomix if you've got different recipes that you want to use or make, I should say. Okay. So that is easy as that. This is what the mixture looks like. And let me see if I can. Yes, it's going to work. I'm just going to put this down here. I'm just going to put this in my tray. Somebody asked for the sweet potato recipe. I will email that in the email as well.
Michelle, I just went on and shared one and it was a sweet potato chocolate slice. So I'm not sure if that's the same one, but I thought I'd pop that in the chat anyway.
Has that got the little chocolate nibbles on top?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, awesome. Well, I just popped it in the chat for everybody.
Beautiful.
I'm not very tech savvy, so I've done it.
That's okay.
Yeah, I had a little play, but anyway, it's there. So yeah, they can save it and use that.
Beautiful, thank you. Just excuse me 1 minute. My kids are at my mother-in-law's house and she's actually just tried to ring. So just excuse me, just 2 seconds. Sorry, I just told my husband to give me a call. The joys of school holidays. And my daughter would have loved to be here today and be my little assistant, but she had a prior engagement. And that's another thing with the Thermomix is, you know, getting the kids involved. And even if they do see an ingredient that they don't like in their food, because they're getting ownership, they're having ownership of what they're making, they generally will love it and continue to eat what they've made, whether it be dinner or a snack. So with these, I will now, when they're cooked, freeze these up and have them in individual slices ready to go, or little muffins ready to go for the lunchbox. So I almost got 12 in there, I got 11. So I'm going to pop them in the oven at 180. You can see I'm holding that by the edges. The bottom is silicone, so they'll pop up, and that's what I don't like about silicone molds. But because this has got a metal frame, it's really easy to pull in and out of the oven.
And they're available in the mix shop, Michelle?
Yes, and I'll send the link through with
awesome.
With the email. And if you were to buy a Thermomix before the 18th of October, you actually will receive a $75 mix shop voucher that you can spend in the mix shop. So that's a great incentive also. Just putting the cutting bowl on. And then we're going to make we're going to make the next recipe. We're going to bake that for about 25 minutes and then cool them down. So the actual recipe said it would make 4 loaves, but they are bigger mini loaves. I've just put them in little bite size, like 3 bites, and the kids will have them for morning tea. So now I could swipe my screen and type in the muesli bars that I wanted to make. It's a live search. Everything you see on your app is what you were seeing on your TM6 screen. But I'm just going to go to my weekly planner. This recipe is from the UK, so if you don't have your filters set up properly, you may not find this recipe. So remember, you do need your filters when you are searching a recipe on Cookie Do to have the English, or if you want more than the Australian recipes, have the English-speaking countries. So I've got mine preset to Australia, USA, UK, and Canada. So I'm looking at all of those recipes every single search that I search. And if you are wanting to learn a little bit more about Cookie Do, we do have Cookie Do workshops once or twice a month that you can jump on and learn a little bit more about that. And that's going to give you so much more confidence in your machine. If you can get the Cookie Do working to its full capability, or even 3/4 of its capability, it's a great tool with the TM6 or any Thermomix. So I'm going to start this. So we've got 60 grams of walnuts. I'm just going to use whatever I've got left in my container. Half the nuts. Then we've got some dried fruit. Oh, hold on. I was going to use my other Thermomix. Everything's over on the other side of the bench. Just give me 2 secs. I do have it out. I haven't forgotten anything yet, I don't think. This over here. These are the old versions, but this is our muesli bar molds. So this is the older version. There are new ones, they're grey in the mix shop, and they're a little bit wider. So you get less muesli bars, each muesli bar is bigger. So you can put these in a slice tray and cut them, but I just like using the molds. So now we're going to use some dried fruit today. I didn't have to go out and buy anything. I had all these ingredients on hand. So I've just got grapes today. So on the weekend, I had my cousin over yesterday for lunch, and I made the warm Mediterranean couscous salad. And I basically had everything, but I just basically swapped out a couple of ingredients. So I didn't have pumpkin, I made sweet potato. If you don't have the couscous, you can make quinoa. So just really using the ingredients that you have on hand rather than going out and buying something just to use with that one recipe. So if you're not sure, again, ask your consultant, because they'll be able to help you what you can substitute out and what's going to work and what's not. So I'm going to pop the measuring cup on, and now we're just going to chop the nuts and the nuts and the dried fruit together. I'm just giving it a very rough chop. Now this recipe does have nuts in it. The one I make, if you do have nut allergies or you're not allowed to take nuts into school, the one I normally make is the 5 seed energy bars. They are delicious, and that's what they are. They've got a variation of all different seeds and dried fruit. So 250 grams of muesli. I'm just using oats today. Any questions in the chat?
No, not yet. No.
Feel free, don't be shy. Come on, ask us questions. And every Tuesday, one team will be running a Zoom, whether it's for half an hour, 45 minutes, just whatever we've got in our house, we'll be presenting. So it's a great way just to see different presenters and just different types of things that you may have not even seen on Cookie Do or knew that it was a Thermomix recipe. So I'm just going to chop down that rolled oats. 3 seconds on speed 3. Now I'm going to pop that in with the nuts. And now 70 grams of dark chocolate pieces. I've got some little chocolate. I've got big chunks. I'm going to leave the big chunks out and just do whatever I've got in the little one. My kids don't normally get chocolate in their muesli bars, so that'll be a nice. Okay, a tip for fussy eaters that don't eat nuts or dried fruit. Okay. The 5 seed energy bars, as I said, they do have dried fruit, so maybe you could pick a fruit that she likes or just leave the fruit out. It has got rice malt syrup in that one, and I think it's maple syrup, so you could, and vanilla and cinnamon, so it's got different flavors. There's the sesame seed bars on Cookie Do as well. If she likes bliss balls, a really great one is the beetroot bliss balls. They're pink, so she might like those. They are actually delicious. And there's a carrot cake one as well. It's made with carrots. So they might be different things that you could try as well. So we're just going to chop up the chocolate. I probably don't need too much because it's already fairly small. I'll do that for a couple of seconds because it was small chocolate to begin with. Put that in with my muesli. And this is a no bake recipe as well. So now 125 grams of blanched almonds. I haven't blanched them, we do have the skin on. But if you did want to blanch the almonds, there is a recipe. If you just Google, I think it's it might be on the recipe community or it might be Quirky Cooking, where you cook the nuts for just a little bit or soak the nuts and then spin it and then the skin comes off them. So they're super easy to blanch your almonds in the Thermomix. 10 grams of water. So your measuring cup has actually got a little spout. So again, rather than dirtying something else, I'm just going to use my little measuring cup to pour in that 10 grams. I'm going to pop that lid on. Just 2 minutes. Okay. Can you hear me, Linda, or is it too much background noise?
No, I just heard you then. Yeah. You there?
I can't hear you, so I'll just wait for the Thermomix to stop. If you wanted to jump on and share a little tip while this is mixing, it's got a minute to go.
Okay, when a recipe doesn't say measuring cup or measuring cup off. Okay, there's a question here. While we wait, when a recipe doesn't say measuring cup or measuring cup off, what do I do? There's a question. If it doesn't say measuring cup on or measuring cup off, what do I do? I would leave it off if it doesn't actually tell you to put it on. Is that correct, Michelle?
Where are you finding the recipes from?
It's a lady's just asked the question in the chat.
Yeah. So I'm asking Karen, where's she finding the recipe that doesn't say MC on Cookie Do in the recipe community? Okay, so Cookie Do generally will say the lid on or off. So just go back and read it again because will say it. If it's cookie dough recipe community, I would err on the side of caution. If you are cooking over 100 degrees in the bowl, the measuring cup has to stay off. Are there any one pot wonders? Don't want to dirty extra dishes, separate wet from dry. So are you talking about lunchbox snacks, Amanda, or just dinners? Let us know. The 5 seed energy bars are my go-to. They're the ones I make all the time, and they just chuck everything in. So that was just a bit of water in the almonds for 2 minutes, and it's actually made that into a paste. Can you see it's powdery and pasty there, like it's broken those nuts off. So you've said everything, less dishes the better, 100%. So banana bread is a one pot wonder. Zucchini slice is something really good. My kids love zucchini slice, but when I went to give it to them in their lunchbox, they came back home horrified that it wasn't hot like they have it at home. So you just have to customize your kids into it's going to be cold if they're used to eating it hot. As for dinners, I'm just going to do 100 grams of honey. As for dinners, you can do the one pot wonder pasta dishes if you like pasta. There's the creamy tomato and fettuccine salami from the basic cookbook. All of you would have that. I think it goes right back to the TM31 basic cookbook. That is a beauty. It's got some hidden veg and it is a really yummy meal. There's lots of those one pot wonders on cookie dough. Soups are great.
Bolognese one's a great one.
Which one?
The spaghetti bolognese.
Yes.
I think that's the one you normally do. I can't think of.
I'll send an email of top 5 dinners, one pot wonder, and top 5 snacks of one pot wonders. I'll send that out to everybody.
Another great thing that I love making every week is raisin and oat cookies. And they're quite easy, and you just pop all your wet things in first, and you put your dry things in, mix it together, roll them in balls, and they're done, and they're quite yummy as well.
Yeah, if anybody follows me on Facebook or Instagram, my 10-year-old daughter loves cooking, and just the good old chocolate chip cookies. They're a great one pot wonder. Your bliss balls, as I said, the beetroot bliss balls, they sound yuck, but they actually are really delicious. So Karen said she's made the chicken and corn soup last week, just like the restaurant. So that's fantastic. That one was from the recipe community. So did you know with your TM6, we've had a couple of recipe community questions and recipe recommendations. With your TM6, you can actually load up the recipe community recipes to guided cooking on your TM6. So you don't have to bookmark them and remember where you've saved them on the recipe community. They're all on your machine or on your cookie dough account. Val makes finger buns. The dough didn't rise and seemed to be over kneaded, but I followed the recipe. Any suggestions? I normally make the Thermo Mama one. So was that from the recipe community? So with the recipe community, just read the star rating and read the comments. So somebody else has probably had that same problem as you had. And if you read the comments, somebody would say, I over kneaded it, so I knocked back the kneading, or I added more yeast, or I let it proof for longer, or whatever it may be with that particular recipe. So at the moment, if you were thinking of possibly upgrading your machine, we do have an earn with Gore. So if you join the team, you can invest your time, not your money, and actually earn your Thermomix with just for sale. So if you're interested in knowing some more about that, reach out to your consultant and they'll be able to help you. You can also have cooking experiences. So you can use these Tuesday sessions and invite a couple of friends to unlock some host rewards and learn more. or you can do a virtual cooking experience with your consultant or an in-person one as well. And you can unlock thermo servers, thermo mats, the blade peeler cover. We've got a new brunch menu that we can do for you as well. So reach out to your consultant. So Val, just let me know which recipe that was and I'll have a little look at that for you. I've just got a little poll. So if everybody just wanted to, I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm going to leave the meeting on my phone. So basically finished with that now. And I'm just going to load the poll up. Oh, no, it's not going to let me do the poll because I was on another device. No, okay. I have a little poll, but if you wanted us to type in the chat, just so I can go back to your consultant, just put in the chat if you wanted any follow-up from your consultant. Did you want some information on hosting a cooking experience, purchasing a machine, joining the team, any, meal planning or cookie do support? Just basically type in the chat what you needed from your consultant, because these sessions are to best support you on your next step and to make sure you are using your machine to its full capability. So pop in the chat and I can let your consultant know if there was something specific that you wanted to know from today. So basically we've just mixed up those ingredients for 3 minutes and it has created like a nut paste now. Okay, so now it wants me to combine all these other ingredients. Give it a quick mix. So how much money would everybody save if you're making your lunchbox snacks from scratch in your Thermomix versus buying them? So if you're buying them at the moment, how much do you spend per week on, scrolls and muesli bars and different things? Was it Karen that was asking about the different type of muesli bar as well? Last cooking class we did actually LCN bars with rice bubbles, and they were super easy. You just basically melt the butter and whatever sugars that you wanted to use. You can use honey if you didn't want to use sugar, and then just mix in a glass bowl all the rest of the ingredients. So the chocolate chips or the rice bubbles in a bowl, and then just put it in a container, and then put that in the fridge. And they were a huge cost saver. I think they made 20, bars, and it only cost, I think it was $6 to make, and the girl, no, $3 to make, and the girl who makes them regularly said that the 15 pack was about $9. So it was a $6 saving with almost double the consistency. So then now with this, you basically are just going to push that down. You can see it's quite pasty and thick because we've made a nut butter and the honey is setting them together. So you can see now these are a perfect muesli bar form. You just push it down like so. And I'm just going to quickly check these zucchini loaves to see what's happening there. So you can see how handy this mould is, that they basically will finish and they just pop out like so into a muesli bar. Can you guys see that? So I'll finish putting them in later. You guys don't need to be on to watch that. And I'm just going to quickly check these muffins to see if I can show you the finished product before we finish up. But type in the chat what you want from your consultant and any other questions, or come off mute with any other questions you may have. And any themes that you're interested in seeing in a cooking class as well. How good do these look? They have risen like a beauty.
Wow, nice.
And I probably could have got that 12th one in, because those chopped chew, those first ones are a bit overfilled. So they smell divine. Yes, Sherry, they do. And the kids won't even know that there's zucchinis in those. So thanks, guys. I will send you photos of the finished product with the email. I'll do 2 top 5s for you, which is top 5 one-pot meals, top 5 lunchbox snacks that are in one pot. Yes, they do look like a fudge brownie and they smell absolutely divine. So I'll let you know what my kids think of them tomorrow when they're back from their sleepover. Was there anything else I promised you? And I'll send you the recipe links as well. Let me just check the chat before I go.
Yeah.
Have you made them before, Nathan? You said they look good.
No, I haven't made them, but I think I will now.
Excellent. Okay, so Karen wants to know about the yogurts. I'll send you some info on that. So Sherry just wanted some tips for toddler food. So if you go on to your cookie do you know how to search collection as opposed to recipe? Let me know that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, you do. Excellent. So if you go into collections, there is a couple of great recipes, recipe books. Louise Fulton-Keats, she's actually Margaret Fulton's granddaughter. She's a nutritionist and she writes cookbooks. She's a food blogger. She's got some great recipe books on Cookie Do. Sweet Nourish is one, and the sweet potato brownie comes from that. She cooks predominantly with no sugars and lots of hidden veg and fruits in her sweets. So Sweet Nourish has got some great healthy veggie smuggling food. The baby and toddler cookbook as well. Just let me have a look. I forget what the other one. It's got a couple of them. Let me have a little look. Val,
Is that food for everyone or something like that? It's got a picture of her and a little boy on it, on the front of it?
Yes, I couldn't think of what it was called. But that's
I think I have that.
So with your baby foods and your toddler foods, we are actually getting a baby food range coming out. So it's Whole Food Child on Cookie Do. That's what it looks like. And that's packed with great foods for toddlers. There's like kid-friendly buttered chicken on there. What else is here? That's good. Let's having a look for sweetie sort of things. Broccoli chive muffins, banana oak pikelets, cheese and herb scones, zucchini fritters, chocolate carrot muffins. There's some crackers, zucchini pistachio loaf. They can have nuts. Oh, the vegetarian quiche, that's delicious. I make that for myself. Apple ginger cake with salted caramel sauce. Davison climate cheesecake. Orange, raspberry and coconut jellies. Blackberry jam tarts. There's heaps of stuff in there and they're predominantly healthy recipes. So check that Whole Food Child and Sweet Nourish. They are 2 really good books for young kids if you're looking for healthy food. I'll just quickly see if there's any more.
Val asked about jam, if you can make jam in the Thermomix. So I just replied to that with a yes. So maybe we can find a recipe for her to help her out with that.
So Val, was that something that you wanted to see made in a cooking class? Is that what you wanted, or you just wanted some tips on the jam?
Let's have a look and see if Val's still there.
Yeah, Val's still on. Some tips.
Yep.
Okay. So I use the USA strawberry recipe. It's a hit every time, and it actually uses the varoma to sit on top. So it's venting out all the liquid. So it's not running, and it's perfect every single time. So if you use the varoma on top, it shouldn't spill out. And the USA strawberry recipe is the bomb. That's the one that I make all the time. So give that one a go and let me know if that one is.
Val just wrote
spills over.
spills over.
Yeah, so the USA one doesn't with the varoma on top. So give that one a go. Excellent. Well, thanks, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed that.
Yep.
And let's go quickly, just make sure I've answered everything. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much, guys. I will see you next time. So remember, Tuesday at 7:30, somebody will always be running a class, and you can unlock host rewards as well. So thanks, guys. Nice seeing you all. Good night, and thanks, Linda, for helping me out with the chat.
You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.